I'm Stephanie Kilpatrick, and I'm here with my son,
I'm
Cameron, who is 15 and a reader. We're going to talk about some of the appealing aspects of sci-fi, fantasy, and horror. I, growing up, read a lot of R.L. Stine, and I think what appealed to me about the horror genre was the excitement and the adrenaline. And then later on, I grew to learn to love fantasy. So I think I just loved the creativity and the imaginative quality of fantasy. But what do you think appeals to teenagers today in the sci-fi, fantasy, and horror genre from your experience?
For horror specifically, I do think it is a lot of adrenaline, not knowing what's going to happen, the anticipation of it. Suspense is a huge thing. That's all what horror is. For fantasy, me specifically, I like just learning about all the different worlds and magic things, all these different concepts that could be, that I just find really exciting. That's what I love about fantasy. Yeah.
What about sci-fi?
Thinking about normal science in real life is fun, but kind of magical-ish, it's in the future, so anything could happen. That kind of aspect added to this technology and science adds a lot more. These are the things that could happen. It's just really fun.
Cool to think of potentials that could be possible someday. Yeah.
Yep.
I think too that sci-fi has led to a lot of some of our scientific advancements because people read about them and want to make them real. Some of the benefits to this genre. I, as a writer, have gone to several writing conferences where there's been classes on horror, specifically where it's talked about how there's research to support that it helps kids become more psychologically resilient because they're in a safe environment going through these emotions in their head where their brain kind of learns to process these emotions of fear and dealing with something unexpected that's scary. So then in real life, when something happens, their parents get divorced or they go through a trauma, there's pathways in their brain that allow them to be able to process the real life emotions that they're going through. So I think that's fascinating. And fantasy and sci-fi, I just think are really good for problem solving and creativity. Being able to use your imagination is critical in real life to being able to function and solve problems and see different solutions or ways out of things or ways to do things and innovate and all that. So I don't know, what do you think?
That's what I've seen and researched and done, what just learned on my own is stuff a lot of the importance of books and just reading in general in for humanity is that we are able to process things in a space where it doesn't actually matter. Things can happen oh my gosh, the person I cared about just died, but it doesn't matter because it's a book. And so it slowly acclimates people to real life things that have that actually happen. And so that's a big thing that I know. They're just fun. That's why I read them. Yep.
There you have it.